This is Ethan, and I'm here with Dave, and together we are Dave and Ethan's 2000-inch Weird Al podcast, episode 258-inch.
On this episode, we welcome Matt Kelly and Matthew Milligan from the Weird Al-Gorithm podcast to help us definitively rank the top 5 notable Weird Al song cameos.
It's Dave and Ethan's 2000-inch Weird Al podcast.
It's a podcast about Weird Al.
It's Dave and Ethan's 2000-inch Weird Al podcast.
Seriously, the whole podcast is about Weird
It's
Al.
Dave and Ethan's 2000-inch Weird Al podcast.
You don't have to listen, but we're glad you are.
Dave and Ethan's 2000-inch Weird Al podcast.
Hello, everybody, and welcome to Dave and Ethan's 2000-inch Weird Al podcast, episode 258-inch.
Oh boy, Ethan and I are recovering from our tour chasing with Weird Al Yankovic on his bigger and weirder tour, so we're going to keep this episode pretty brief.
Now make sure you keep an eye on group.2000inch.com and all of the social media channels we have for the latest in Weird Al related news. You can find us at 2000inch everywhere you consume your social media.
Meanwhile, we really hope that everyone has been enjoying our bigger and weirder and longer bonus episodes where we told you about all the fun things we've been doing tour chasing with Weird Al Yankovic, and we go into really excruciating detail with our song-by-song reviews of the concerts that we've seen so far on this tour.
That's right, Dave. Cheapskates currently have only heard up to Bigger and Weirder and Longer, Concert Review Bonus Episode 4 cm, a review of Weird Al's third Las Vegas concert. But our pretty stinking majestic Patreon family over at patreon.com/2000inch already have access to an additional 5 concert review episodes. Yes, up through bonus episode 9 cm, Weird Al's concert in Salt Lake City, Utah.
Each and every concert review bonus episode will be posted on patreon.com/2000inch first. So if you want to hear our adventures from the road as soon as possible, and you know you do, head on over to patreon.com/2000inch to sign up.
Not only do you get our concert reviews early, but you also will be supporting the podcast that you are listening to right now. It's a win-win for everybody.
And thank you to everyone who's listened and commented on the episode so far. There will be more to come shortly. A lot more to come.
Before we dive into this week's main attraction, we have a very special report live in the field from Dave and Ethan's 2000-inch Weird Al podcast correspondent, Christopher Bay. Take it away, Christopher.
We're here at one of the stops on Weird Al Yankovic's Bigger and Weirder tour. Let's talk to some of the fans. Excuse me, sir, how much time do you spend listening to Weird Al's music every day?
525,600 minutes.
Over here is a guy who came to the show to celebrate his 21st birthday. How long have you been waiting to get in?
Soon I'll be 60 years old.
And when do you expect to get inside?
In the year 2525.
Hey look, it's Ethan and Dave from the 2000-inch Weird Al podcast. Hey guys, is there anything you'd like to say to the people who aren't planning to come see one of Al's shows?
Stupid! You're so stupid!
I'm not sure, ladies and gentlemen, but I think I just saw Al's opening act, Puddle's Pity Party, walking by, singing his favorite song. Up ahead, I see Bermuda Schwartz being hit on by a female fan, and a security officer trying to chase her away. Let's see if we can hear what he's saying.
Will you get out of that drummer's lap?
Excuse me, miss, you're one of Bermuda's biggest fans, and you've been known to say things like, "It's Bermuda's world, we just live in it." Could you expand on that?
We are in orbit around the planet Schwartz.
Looks like we're about to hear the band do a sound check, and I see Steve J coming out onto the stage. Hey Steve, are you all set for the sound check?
I'm all about that bass, about that bass.
While the band is setting up, let's talk to Al for a second. Al, how would you best describe your fan base?
Depressing creatures with unprepossessing features.
Oh, come on now. We know that's not true. For example, I happen to know that you're usually very patient with people who want to pitch ideas for song parodies. What did you say to the last person who did this?
I'll have to confess that I got a bit angry and told him to stuff his ideas up his...
And despite having added 4 musicians to the band, especially for this tour, I understand you're still searching for a very specific addition to the show.
I'm looking for a guy who plays alto and baritone and doubles on a clarinet and wears a size 37 suit.
Well, I'll certainly keep an eye out. Tell us, Al, after you leave here, what are some of the next stops on the tour?
District of Columbia, New Hampshire, Massachusetts, Alabama, South Dakota, North Dakota, Minnesota, Oklahoma, West Virginia, California, Georgia, Texas, Maine.
That's quite an itinerary. Well, it's almost time for the show to start, so we should probably...
Mississippi, Washington, South Carolina, Arkansas, North Carolina, Tennessee, Louisiana, Iowa, Nevada, Kansas, Arizona, Colorado, Michigan.
Wow. Al, it's been a pleasure talking with you, and we hope to see you very...
New Jersey, New York, New Mexico.
Okay. Al, thanks so much for talking to us. Have a great show, and watch out now. Careful, don't trip over here.
Gee, Dad, it was a Wurlitzer.
Oh, boy. Well, good luck, Al, and break a leg. I mean, break your other leg.
What great reporting, Christopher. Thank you so much for sharing that with us.
This episode is brought to you in part by Vegan Burrito Restaurant Burrito, home of the 2-pound double wrapped in a quesadilla burrito, and Wizard Burger in Albany, New York. Come on down to Burrito and Burrito your burrito, and Wizard Burger for mouth-watering, loaded, dare I say beefy, vegan burgers. From Albany to Uranus, Burrito and Wizard Burger feed the hunger with out-of-this-world plant-based real food, always vegan style. Visit burritosquare.com and wizardburger.com to order ahead.
This week we have a very special episode to share with you. We finally welcome Matt Kelly and Matthew Milligan from the Weird Al-Gorithm podcast as official guests.
Dave and I are absolutely thrilled to welcome onto our Weird Al podcast the hosts of the Weird Al-Gorithm podcast, Matt Kelly and Matthew Milligan. Guys, thank you so much for joining us.
Oh, thank you.
This is such an honor. Listen, we should be thanking you for not suing us for stealing your concept of a Weird Al podcast.
Now, while we both talk about Weird Al in very, very in-depth discussions, we do cover different realms of the Weird Al podcast sphere. Now, while we are typically,
we do, yeah,
going into interviews and learning about Al's history, you guys are talking about the deep musical idiosyncrasies of his songs, and we thought, what better way to sort of combine all of that together to have you guys on for one of our famous, and people have been asking for more of these, Dave, so we're really excited to invite you on for one of our definitive top 5 episodes, where we will, the four of us collectively, decide what everyone has to agree with is the top 5 notable Weird Al song cameos.
Yeah.
I love it. And I mean, people who listen to our show know that we love ranking stuff.
Right.
Yes. That's kind of our whole thing. So we're ready to go on that. But on our show, Matt and I don't have to agree. We make our own separate things. So getting us on the same page now, I don't know. We often do agree, but not always.
We sometimes actually get more angry when we do agree. I know for a long time, Matt hated that we had the same number 1 songs.
Yeah, well, when our top 5 was exactly the same for a little while, I'm like, well, this is boring. Like, we gotta do something different.
But then along came I Think I'm a Clone Now, and that really shook up everything because that's like my number 1 Al parody.
Still to this day, we're recording straight out of Linwood, and it's Matt Kelly's number 1. I think I'm a clone now.
Wow.
I know. Hot take. I love it though.
We all have our favorites, and that's what's great is there's room for all of our favorites, but the thing is, not on this episode.
Yeah, before we get into the top 5, I'm pretty sure our listeners, many of them listen to both our podcast and your podcast, but maybe for like that one person out there who hasn't found your podcast yet, will you just kind of give us the elevator pitch of what goes on your podcast?
Sure.
Yeah, I guess I'll start with the origins of the podcast. Honestly, it was 2 events that happened pretty close to each other. And one is Milligan. Milligan, you did something when you were cooped up during COVID like the rest of us.
Yes, I had an itch to perform, and I was unable to leave my house like so many people were, and so I had the very ill-advised, self-indulgent idea to learn how to play on the bass, which is my primary instrument, every single song in Weird Al's discography at the time.
Ooh.
There's a couple actually have been added since then, but yeah, and it was an unbelievably challenging thing to do. It took me forever to do, and I sat and in one sitting played, from album 1 all the way through up to the Hamilton Polka was the most recent thing at that moment in time. It took me about 12 and a half hours.
I was going to say, it was almost 13 hours that you were on Twitch playing song after song after song.
Yep.
In a single day.
It was quite a thing. It was an absolutely ass-kicking exercise, but I knew it was going to be this amazing, rewarding thing. And yeah, that ultimately led me to Matt Kelly, who was, we had a bunch of mutual friends. I kind of knew you through, I had done the podcast.
Episodes of my podcasts. You had done a Devo episode of One Hit Thunder, and you and I got along pretty much immediately. I think that was one of those, after that interview was over, we still stayed online and talked for another hour, which is usually a sign of oh, this person's definitely a friend.
Yeah,
and I hadn't even remembered. It started with Devo, which is a great intro into the world of Al. I mean, we didn't even intend for that to be the case, but we started talking about Devo. Yeah,
you did that, and then I was producing another podcast about TV shows, and you came on and talked about The Simpsons. And I was all right, we're checking a lot of boxes on the friendship scale for me right now. But honestly, I talked about this a long time ago, but it was also during COVID. I was driving to Starbucks, and I was stuck in the pickup line, and I had Polka Party on. And I can't remember anymore what specific song it was, but one of the songs was on. And I think it was Dog Eat Dog.
I was going to say, I feel like you said it in the episode. I think it might have been Dog Eat Dog,
Dog Eat Dog was on, and I'm like, this song is so good, and casual Weird Al fans don't know it. This album is better than it gets credit for. And I was like, what's a way to let people know that there are these amazing deep-cut Weird Al songs? And at this point, I was already hosting 4 other podcasts, so I thought, let's make a 5th podcast. And me and a co-host will go track by track and rank them, and hopefully it'll expose people to the deeper stuff than Eat It in Amish Paradise if they are willing to tune in. And immediately, this was maybe 6 months after Matt had done that Twitch stream that I watched. I'm like, well, I know the guy who cares about Al Yankovic enough to do this with me. And I shot the text. Every time that I've ever pitched somebody on a podcast, there is that hour to 2 hour wait for them to respond back where you're like, did I just pitch the dumbest thing that they've ever heard in their life?
Blow up this friendship?
Completely. And I was so thankful that Matt was very, I would say, coy. Both Matt and Chris Fafalios, who does One Hit Thunder, both of them kind of were tell me more before they were willing to commit to the concept, which is understandable because both of them are musicians who tour and they have a very busy schedule. So for both of them, a kind of peek behind the curtain is, we're recording this episode of your podcast on June 3rd, and Weird Al-Gorithm is currently recorded up to the month of August because we're trying to be preemptive of Wheatus tours and a bunch of other stuff. So I think once Matt realized we can bank months of episodes in a 2-week period, and then he'll be able to still complete every thing that he does as a musician.
Yeah.
I think it became a lot easier for him to buy in on the podcast a little bit.
Well, actually, also one more thing was another concern that I had was when you pitched it to me, Matt, my first thought was someone else must already be doing a Weird Al podcast. and I checked it out. And of course, I immediately found Dave and Ethan because it's the preeminent Weird Al podcast. Of course, there have been a couple others
WeirdAlPodcast.com
come and gone over the years.
We weren't even the first.
Just great with those domain grabs. Well done. But yeah, I saw you guys were doing it, and I looked at what you did, and I listened to a couple episodes, and I loved the format of your show, and that was actually what reassured me enough, where I was like, I know we can do something different enough from that, that it will be, unique for the Al community.
I also think that because there are a ton of other great shows that still did the song by song review stuff. I know that there's like the Weird Alphabet.
Yes.
There's Beer Pals, and a few others. Like, there's a ton of them, and I feel bad because I'm blanking on a few of them now, and I know that we've even been on a few of the shows, and I'm just it's late. It's been a long day. But I think that one of the things that worked with us too is, and this is going to feel a little bit like we're patting each other on the back, but like Matt is one of the only people I've ever met whose knowledge base of every genre of music seems to be close to mine. So like, I think that I've heard from other people who listen to the show where it's not just that we love Weird Al, which we do, but we have such an understanding of every genre and artist that he's doing style parodies of, where it's like, our episode on Dare to Be Stupid is more of a history of the band Devo than it's even a discussion of the song itself, because like that is, Matt and I are both people who have the entire Devo discography. We know those songs like the back of our hands. So like being able to come from it not just as like, hey, isn't this guy so funny? Aren't these songs so creative? But like being able to come to it with like a music theory and a music historian perspective of like, these are master works and like brilliantly crafted and assembled. And the thing that him and I talked about early on was also like, we also have to not be afraid to say when we think he fumbles, because like no one bats 100%.
I mean, I disagree, but okay.
For sure.
That's great.
But
we're due to start disagreeing any minute now.
Listen, this whole episode's going to be filled with disagreements. I know.
Thank you guys for that summary. That was probably the longest elevator ride I've ever been on.
Perfect. We're not great with the elevator pitch, guys.
No,
Sorry.
we're not.
Matthew, I do have a follow-up question for you about your Twitch marathon.
Yeah.
At which point in your marathon, which song was it that your fingers started bleeding?
You know what's funny? Actually, I have a very vivid memory, which is that I was in the middle of Poodle Hat, and I was playing somewhere around Ode to a Superhero, eBay, Bob area on that record. And I started to get really tired, and I knew in the back of my head that I was only a few songs away from Genius in France. And I started to panic a little bit, because that's easily the most complex song in the whole set. And I just was like, I think I might have even sat down. Someone got to check the footage. I might have sat, because I was standing up for pretty much the whole thing. And I think I sat on my bench, like where I am right now, for like 3 or 4 songs there, because I suddenly had this thought. I was like, well, I got to really like get my head on straight here, or I'm gonna crash and burn on Genius in France. And thankfully that didn't happen. But if you watch back the footage, there's definitely a moment there where I start to get a real distant look in my eyes.
I also think that Matt, you put up a supercut. It's like, I think it's about 30 minutes to watch, where you play. It's approximately like 5 to 6 seconds of each song.
Yeah.
During the entire performance. And
wow.
I love the way that you did it, because it literally has a tiny clock in the corner telling you what time it is for every single clip. But there is this really charming, rewarding moment where you're watching the supercut, and it is like you are 15 minutes into this supercut, and you yourself as the watcher, like, he's got to be exhausted. And then you get to You Don't Love Me Anymore, where there's like a song that doesn't have bass, and he's just kind of standing there as the song.
There aren't that many.
That was my question.
You Don't Love Me Anymore. Another fun ranking. I think You Don't Love Me Anymore and Since You've Been Gone. And technically, I actually did wind up adding bass, but like Another One Rides the Bus does not have bass on it. It's just, accordion and the accordion case.
Is CNR one of them?
Oh yeah, and CNR also technically does not have bass, right? Because it was White Stripes style, so it was just guitar and drums. CNR, I wound up adding bass. Another One Rides the Bus, I wound up adding. But You Don't Love Me Anymore and Since You've Been Gone, I left just how they were, and I basically just stand there. But I'm committed to the bit. I'm not going to skip any songs. Like I'm just going to like accept. Yeah.
I'm afraid to ask, because I'm afraid this is going to go on for another half hour. Where can people find your podcast?
Anywhere podcasts are sold.
All places. There is also a you could also go to weirdalgorithmpodcast.com, which is where we post our rankings, which we update as we go through the show. and including our guest rankings, which you guys are familiar with the chaos of the guest rankings.
Oh, yes.
Yes, you both have done great damage to our guest rankings over the years, and we appreciate that very much.
Well, thank you. Yeah, we've been on several different episodes of yours, and as well as a real treat, we got to be on a panel at Comic-Con in 2024.
Dave, I got some news for you. You're going to get to be on a panel at Comic-Con in 2025 as well.
Whoa.
First time announced anywhere here on the
okay.
Dave and Ethan podcast.
We are going back to Comic-Con, you guys. We did it. They like us. They really like us.
They did. I was shocked.
I am so thrilled.
I know.
I'm so thrilled that you guys
so thrilled.
are bringing us
Very
back
exciting.
on this journey, and I can't wait. And I know we can't say too much about it yet, but it's going to be exciting, even more exciting than it already is. Once we...
Even more exciting. We got more like fun details and all that good stuff coming soon. Yeah, we can't talk about all the details yet, but we are. It's gonna be real special. We're excited.
This is the riskiest I feel safe going with, but if you were there last year, it's very similar in every aspect to last year, but we will make an official announcement of time, place, and day when we're given the approval.
Yes, and Dave and Ethan will be with us, but some different as well special guests.
Yep,
also joining us. It's going to be great. It's going to be great.
It'll be so similar to last time that it will be the exact same words everyone will say.
Yeah, we're going to just do the exact same panel again.
Yeah, I mean, listen, it was so nice. Why not do it twice?
Exactly.
I can say a little bit about what the panel is going to be because it does tie to this definitive top 5 that we're doing.
Okay. Oh, there we go.
We're going to be talking about the Dare to Be Stupid album, and then you two and the other panelists are going to have to definitively rank the songs on that album from worst to best. So,
and we've done a definitive
chaos.
top 5 for Dare to Be Stupid, and Dave
There
and
you
I
go.
were very delighted to find out that we're both maybe closeted Girls Just Want to Have Lunch fans. So I think there's going to be
interesting.
There's going to be a resistance for.
I'm pretty sure I have memory of you coming on our show and bringing that one up on the guest rankings.
Yeah,
I feel like I remember that getting a little boost from Dave and Ethan. Yeah,
and I'm gonna borrow a little bit of. There's a podcast that I really like called Screen Drafts, where they do definitive movie lists. They'll do like the top 10 Disney movies and stuff like that. And what they have, which I'm going to introduce when we do this, is that we're just going to go round robin with people placing songs. Like, let's say it starts with you, Ethan. You'll say, like, at number 11, I think blank. But each panelist has one veto that they can use to stop a song and let it move up at least one more. Now, obviously, if you and David want to consolidate your plans to combine your devos, we're going to call them devos instead of vetoes.
I like that.
You want to use your devos to move Girls Just Want to Have Lunch higher than where someone might put it. I can't stop you. I can't stop how you choose to use your devos.
I'm learning a lot right now. This is great news. This is great.
I guarantee that Girls Just Want to Have Lunch will be moved up on the list at some point. Well, thank you so much for inviting us. We're really excited to be at Comic-Con again, especially on your panel, and we're super excited to talk about Dare to Be Stupid.
Yes.
40 years.
It's going to be so epic. Dave, do you want to give us a little background on how the top 5 itself works, and then maybe I can speak about how we came up with the list that we all got to choose from?
All right, yeah. Well, now, longtime listeners of our podcast probably have heard us do a few of these definitive top 5 list rankings. We usually do them on albums, and we did one on the album covers as well. But this time we're going to do it a little bit differently. We're not going with an album, and Ethan will tell you about that when we get there. But basically the way we do this is each of us have been given a list of songs by our intern, Frank, that fit a certain criteria. And we've had to rank them from our favorite song to 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and then we also were allowed to pick 2 or 3 honorable mentions. And what we do is we each reveal what our picks one at a time, starting at number 5, and we'll work our way down to number 1. And we'll talk about why we chose to rank the songs the way we did, and it'll be very interesting. Once we get every song on the list, the 4 of us collectively have to come up with a definitive top 5 song list that we all agree upon. and no one's allowed to leave. This is very similar to how they elect a pope. We get locked into a room, Sistine Chapel, and they only give us bread and water. Yes. And nobody leaves until there's a brand new pope, until the smoke coming out of the chimney is white. And we all agree upon the definitive top 5. Now, we have not seen each other's lists.
Correct.
So we don't know what each other's going to say. We don't know where things are going to go. And that makes it a lot of fun. When we get to the definitive ranking, I'm sure there's going to be a lot of negotiation going on, a lot of horse trading, and a lot of promises to each other just to get songs ranked where we feel comfortable.
Now, to whittle down the criteria, because the topic we're going with is the top 5 notable Weird Al song cameos. And if you just went by a really, really vague definition of cameo, there could be 100 songs on this list. It's hard to define. So the way that we had our intern Frank narrow it down is first we're only going to look at the 14 studio albums. So, for example, that kicks out Wendy Carlos with Peter and the Wolf, because it's not one of the official 14 studio albums. And it kicks out a couple other ones and live-only things. And so narrowed it down there. And then from there, we wanted to also make it just maybe the most notable ones. A couple that I also wanted to disqualify would be like Edith Four, the I've Fallen and I Can't Get Up lady. She... Technically, yes, she was a guest, but as we learned, the audio that was played was actually a recording of the commercial. It wasn't recorded for Al, and the same with the Phony Calls Simpsons bit. It wasn't recorded for Al, so
right.
Some little things like that just to help whittle it down a little bit. So that's essentially the context we tried to use, and we wanted it to be a somewhat manageable list. And we will not be revealing the list, so you'll just have to listen in and see if you can figure out what the 14 are.
I guess if there's anything we don't talk about, we can mention it later on.
Afterwards.
Anything that was on this list. Yeah.
Right. Anything we don't talk about, we'll mention at the end.
Sure.
And we did ask intern Frank to run this list past a few Weird Al historians, and they seem to agree that this is a good list. So,
great.
We do have the blessing of the Weird Al historians.
I have a quick question about the definitive top 5 before we dive into this.
Of course.
Please.
Just out of curiosity, has there ever been a circumstance, and maybe this will be the first time, but has there ever been a circumstance where everyone participating in the top 5 from the gate had the same songs in the same positions, making the definitive list much easier?
No.
Okay.
I mean, that'd be amazing.
Perfect.
But no. So
that would be.
I say let's get right into it. Let's start with you guys. We'll let you guys go first. We'll go with Dave. Do you want to flip a coin to see which either Matt or Matthew?
Yeah, let's go to the coin
toss.
toss. I love the coin toss.
Let us know if Matt or Matt goes first.
Yes.
Yeah.
All right. Well, I'll ask our intern Frank to flip a coin, because flipping a coin is below my pay scale.
That's true. And Matt Kelly, do you want to pick heads or tails? What are you thinking?
I'll go heads.
Okay, and you're okay with tails, Matthew?
Yeah.
Okay.
Well, I think, Matt Kelly, let's hear your number 5 song on your list.
Yeah, Matt Kelly's up first.
All right. Can I explain a little bit of what went into my deciding?
Absolutely.
Yes, please. We want you to be as descriptive as possible. We're all going to have a chance to talk about this song as well, but we want to hear first from you why you ranked this song number 5.
Okay, so when I was presented these songs, I think the biggest factor, and I really pushed against just going with my favorite songs, right?
Yeah.
Because that's easy to do. I wanted to go with the appearances that enhance the song, and enhance the song specifically in the realm of no one else could bring this energy to the song in the way that it needed to be presented. You could get a celebrity impersonator and it wouldn't be as impactful, or maybe for certain instruments you could have had Jim West do it, or you could have had Ruben do it on the keyboard, but it would have made the song less than, is the angle I took. So at number 5, there's no world, I think, where I Lost on Jeopardy is as good of a song as it is without that Don Pardo voice doing that reading. I think that is absolute home run. It's one of the first like legitimate gets, I think, for Al. There's been, there are pseudo-celebrity appearances in the self-titled album, and there's maybe someone doing a guitar solo on this album, but this is like the first like big deal celebrity who is kind of above Al's pay grade in 1984, like doing a favor that's kind of like a seal of approval of, this guy is worth my time to come in and re-record this speech.
Wow, Matt, I actually probably couldn't have said that any better. I will reveal that I Lost on Jeopardy is also my number 5 song.
Interesting.
So we totally agree there.
Oh my God, come on, Ethan and Matt, let's do this. Let's make history.
So this could be history in the making.
I will say that I 100% agree with what you said, Matt. And yes, well said. And for a lot of the reasons that you said, that's why it's on my list, but it's not on number 5. So that's all I'll say for now.
Okay.
Same as Ethan for me. 100% Matt Kelly. Great. That was a great case for I Lost on Jeopardy. Totally. 100% agree.
Little background on the song.
Yes.
It is a parody of Jeopardy by the Greg Kihn Band, about the game show Jeopardy, of course, but not like the syndicated version that's on now. This is more specifically about the version that aired from 1964 to 1975 with Art Fleming as the host. And, as you mentioned, Don Pardo was the announcer. And the stories kind of contradict each other here. Some people say that Al releasing the song I Lost on Jeopardy was sort of the spark that brought back the syndicated version, and then other people will kind of dispute that. But certainly Al's song I Lost on Jeopardy helped the syndicated version, become popular, and is still running today.
Another fun fact about I Lost on Jeopardy is that it's possibly the only case in Weird Al's entire career where his video is less strange than the video of the song that's being parodied. For those of you who have never seen the video for Jeopardy, by the Greg,
absolutely crazy. Yeah.
It is inspired by the Evil Dead franchise. And it is a man at a wedding where everyone turns into mutants and the bride turns into a giant monster that he has to fight off and escape from the church.
I love it.
We also noted, I think you guys would probably know this, but at the time it was Al's first. Oh, no, it was not Al's very first video, but it's a very early single for Al. And Greg Kihn makes a cameo in the video. And I believe, correct me if I'm wrong, is that the only time that the original artist appears in the parody video that Al made? I cannot think of another example ever where the artist he parodied makes a cameo in Al's video.
Well, and that's because he did that to tie into the music video, because the music video he jumps into the car,
he managed
and drives
to create
away,
a tie-in
and then Al
with the
gets
two
thrown
videos.
into the same car.
That's a really interesting point. Yeah, unfortunately, this is not the Weird Al music video cameo discussion. So
exactly.
No,
sorry.
I can't think of another one. You're right. I can't think of another one. Where the original artist is.
I only thought of that because of Matt saying how another just great example of like what a wonderful early moment this was for Al, where he got Don Pardo to be a guest and Greg Kihn giving his blessing on the track too. This is a real like important early moment where like established people were on board, really publicly for what Al was doing.
And this was, I don't know the dates exactly, but this is before he had the success from Eat It, right? I mean, this is still like
This predates Eat It, yeah, definitely.
International success, so it's like, it's a really cool get.
Really cool. Really, really cool. Good first pick.
Yeah, single was released on June 4th, 1984. Since we're talking about the music video, Art Fleming was also in it, and Dr. Demento, and so forth. So it's really, really a well video. And I would argue, Ethan, that if you do enjoy the video, that can influence your ranking as well.
That's fair.
That's true. This is an overall.
Sure. We can't talk about Greg Kihn's cameo. I guess that's.
Yeah. No, that's not exactly. Yeah, no, not to confuse the cameos.
The cameo we're talking about is Don Pardo.
Yes, Don Pardo is who we're talking about.
All right. Well, I already revealed my number 5 as I Lost on Jeopardy. So let's go to Matthew Milligan for your number 5.
Sure, and I do have a different number 5. And I'm just going to say my number 5 is Why Does This Always Happen to Me, which features Ben Folds playing piano on the track. This was fresh in my mind because we fairly recently talked about this on Weird Al-Gorithm. We did a deep dive on this track with Ali Gertz. And talked so much about how interesting it is and unique it is. At least until that moment. It's funny enough, Genius in France on the later on the record has a somewhat similar thing, but the odd dynamic of Al doing a style parody and inviting the original artist he's inspired by to guest on the style parody, and how much that speaks to Ben Folds as a piano player. Like, this was another one of those examples of, like, I'm sure Al could have done a version of this, Al or Ruben, right? Could have played a piano part the style of Ben Folds that would have been fine. But the fact that Al was close enough, reached out, whatever it was, to get Ben Folds involved in the track just elevates the whole thing to this even higher level of both homage and just a perfect style parody of Ben Folds. So it makes it very special to me for that alone. I think that's just such a unique, fascinating case, and I also just think it's a great song.
Yeah, I'll say that's also on my list. It is higher than 5 on my list. But what's really, I think, about this and what plays into some of my rankings, as you'll hear, is that hearing the song, it's an incredible song. It's like, this is a Ben Folds song as soon as you hear it. And then when you find out, when you read the liner notes, that Ben Folds himself is on it, makes it the song like even better. Like, it's so cool. Dave and I were talking earlier about this song specifically because we were in Medford, Massachusetts on the last Weird Al tour, and I don't know why I remembered it was Medford, but we were speaking to Ruben after the show, and he was, of course, playing that song on that tour, and somehow he I don't know how we got into the conversation about it, maybe just complimenting his great keyboard on the song, and he said that there was one, like, Summerfest in Milwaukee, where Ben Folds joined them on stage and played the piano part for that song live at a Weird
that's
Al
awesome.
show. And Ruben said when he got back to his keyboard that there was blood on the keyboard. That's how hardcore Ben Folds was playing.
Whoa.
This is also on my list. And for that same, I think that, and it's also a huge compliment to Ben Folds, but Ben Folds has such a distinct piano playing style. And we're going to be talking, I think we're going to talk about a lot of things in vague ways. There is another piano player that is on this list that shows up on a style parody of their music as well, that I'm going to say that person is not on my list. And a big part of that being that I don't think that their piano playing is as immediately noteworthy of... If you had turned on a radio in the 90s and didn't hear the DJ say what new single he was playing, immediately from the piano alone, you'd be able to be like, this is Ben Folds. This has to be Ben Folds. And I think that's like a huge piece of this, where it's like the biggest way that you know that this is a Ben Folds style parody is because of the way that piano is being played. And then the added benefit of it actually being the Ben Folds is really, really cool.
Yeah, actually, that is a good point. And Matt, I think I might know who you're talking about, and we might be having this argument later on about that particular keyboard player. But so this song, we mentioned the style of Ben Folds. It's really sort of about this self-absorbed character who complains about the most trivial things out of the tragedies that are happening in front of him. For example, they interrupted The Simpsons for an earthquake in Peru, and he's upset that, he can't watch The Simpsons.
Which is fair. That is fair. I mean, that's not self-absorbed, is it?
Yeah, it was a new episode. He's got to wait for the rerun now.
I know. Yes. This is very similar. Very similar to a first world problem. Anyway, so Al has worked with Ben many times, as you referenced. He directed Ben's music video in 2001 and also had a cameo in it, Rocking the Suburbs. Al appears on Ben's 2005 album Songs for Silverman, doing backing vocals on the song Time. And he joined Ben live on stage in 2001 for Song for the Dumped, and also joined Ben in 2005 on The Tonight Show playing tambourine on Landed. So they have a good friendship. I agree with that. Ruben is an amazing keyboard player, but if you have access to Ben Folds and you're doing a Ben Folds style parody, you better use Ben Folds. If you don't, people are going to question
you. Yeah. And it does just make the whole thing feel more special, as it was said, yeah.
And this song did not make my list, but it did make my honorable mentions.
There you go.
You guys all made really good arguments, so you might be able to move that one up.
Well, my number 5 is different than any song that we've talked about yet. So this song is one of my favorites from the album that it comes from. And it's also not really a song that you hear talked about too much, unfortunately, because I think it deserves a little bit more. And that is the song If That Isn't Love from the Alpocalypse album. And, of course, Taylor Hanson of the band Hanson is in there on a Hanson style parody. So it's a very fitting cameo. Like I said earlier, like the fact, like you hear the song, you're like, wow, this kind of sounds like a Hanson song. And then when you learn that the guy from Hanson is on it, it makes it even cooler and even better. So, you know, they have a long history and friendship together, Al and the Hanson brothers. And I think it's a great song. It's a great music video. I loved the few times I've gotten to hear it performed live. And with all of that said, I thought it deserved a number 5 spot on the list.
Agreed completely. And I do think If That Isn't Love, it didn't, not on my appreciated song. And I do feel like he adds a lot to it.
Yeah.
The vibe. You can definitely clock the vibe of him being involved in this track.
Yeah.
Like, I feel like
this was what I was hinting at earlier in this conversation. And I love, this is not that I love Hanson. In fact, Matt Milligan was on another episode of One Hit Thunder talking about Hanson.
Yes.
And we shared our absolute adoration for everything that band has done over the last 20 years. But like I said, I think that Taylor Hanson is a very good piano player, but I don't think I could clock his piano playing in a millisecond the way that I can immediately clock a Ben Folds piano playing was what I was trying to say. It was definitely not me dissing Taylor Hanson by any stretch of the imagination, because he is a beast behind those ivories. But yeah, this one's not on my list at all, I will say.
Yeah, this one also didn't make my list, and I guess I was confusing the piano player with a different piano player that was on my list. So I think we're good right now, Matt. But yeah, so this one, it's about, a husband who isn't quite as thoughtful as he thinks he is. Sort of these backhanded compliments to his wife and so forth. It's one of Al's, dark, absurd, demented love song signs, and you mentioned a style parody of Hanson, and of course, the connection to Hanson and Weird Al is very well known.
Yes. All
right, top 5s.
All right, that's it.
3 songs revealed.
All right.
That's it. We're done. No, okay. Ethan, you just revealed your number 5. Why don't you reveal your number 4?
I am happy to reveal my number 4. I'm wondering if this is going to be a contentious pick for being maybe this low on the list, but I put my number 4 as the Poodle Hat closing song, Genius in France.
Whoa.
Great choice.
Silence.
Of course, featuring Dweezil Zappa, son of Frank Zappa, who plays the guitar solo at the very top of the track. This is also on my list, but as you correctly guessed, higher than number 4.
Yeah.
I mean, not unlike, and I said it was similar, not unlike the Why Does This Always Happen to Me and If That Isn't Love we were just talking about with the guest feature, only this one is the son of Frank Zappa, not Frank himself, because unfortunately he didn't live long enough to be invited onto this track. But Frank is legendary for being a very unique and super technically skilled guitarist. Like, it's not easy for players to emulate his playing style. Mm-hmm. It's famously difficult. And but boy, did Dweezil, he's sure learned some tricks from his dad. And he comes on there and plays. I mean, if you had told me that they had flown that in from an old Frank Zappa album, I would have believed you, because it feels so incredibly appropriate and perfect for the song.
And what better way to send a love letter to Frank Zappa and, one of the OG, wacky music guys or demented music guys.
Absolutely.
Then to have his son come in and fill that place and do such an incredible job. So, I mean, that's why it absolutely belongs on the list, but I'm sure we're going to argue, as I mentioned.
It absolutely does belong on the list. It was an honorable mention for me, but I did that knowing that I would probably have to sacrifice one of my 5 for the definitive 5, and I wasn't going to put up much of a fight. You talking about it being Frank's son playing guitar on this when we did the episode of Genius in France, which is not out just yet. But when we did that episode, Matt Milligan specifically brought up a factoid that I did not know, which was that there's a story from the Dr. Demento days where Frank Zappa happened to be in studio while Al was there, and Al asked him to sign a copy of Freak Out, and Frank Zappa said, only if you sign a copy of Another One Rides the Bus, because it's Dweezil's favorite song. So the idea that 20-something years later, this person who loved Weird Al from the very beginning is now getting to play his father's guitar style on Al's record is it just has a beautiful full circle aspect when you factor that in too.
I forgot about that. I'm going to move it up my list now.
I mean, isn't it also just, I love that story so much for young Al. Imagine asking for Frank Zappa's autograph and him then immediately asking for yours in return. I mean, that must have been the most incredible feeling ever. Yeah, truly. Totally. That's just amazing.
Yeah. I just like music. I don't really know how to analyze it very well, but I've heard many people say that Dweezil Zappa plays Frank Zappa better than Frank Zappa plays Frank Zappa. What are your opinions on that?
I think what people are referring to often when they say that is Zappa was a pretty famously, he was kind of like an erratic player. He was known for having good nights and bad nights on tour and stuff as he went on. And he also was just so incredibly prolific. I think he burnt himself out a little bit, especially towards the end he also was a very famous curmudgeon. Yeah. Hence the subject matter of this song, which is definitely referencing Zappa's disdain for all sorts of people.
Do yourself a favor and watch the one time that Frank Zappa hosted SNL.
Oof.
And it's just 2 hours of a man who does not want to be there.
Love it.
Yeah. But essentially, I think, Zappa was sort of figuring it out as he went along, and Dweezil has really just, in the most admirable way, has just committed his life to carrying on his dad's legacy, which, again, is no small feat. Musically, it's very, very challenging, and he has to hire the best players in the world to go out and do this music with him. But I think he has been, for Frank, the guitar playing was just, him expressing himself, and Dweezil has now mastered it and created this more of a formula or more of a structure to it than I think his dad ever really thought about. So, if you go and watch Zappa play Zappa now, or whatever Dweezil is calling that project, I think it's changed names a few times, but if you go see that band and compare that to a live recording of Frank from back in the day, Dweezil and his band are probably doing it a little bit better than they did way back when. Yeah.
Wow. Incredible. Yeah, and this song is very complicated to play. It's never been performed live as of this recording. It's definitely one that the band has constantly said, we don't know how to do this one live. It's too complicated.
I don't blame them. As I said at the top of this show, and it was in terms of learning how to play all of Al's catalog, I probably spent, for the 100 and something songs, I probably spent more than approaching 50% of the total time to learn on this song alone.
Wow.
Just going through the whole thing, because it's every section is different. Nothing really repeats the same way twice. And it was just this massive, massive page of notes to try to get through. And that's even forgetting the speed of it's so fast, all of those runs. And it's very, very challenging music.
Milligan, please. What he's trying to say is, Al, I know you're listening, and when you come to the Philly show in July, if you want to play Genius in France and Steve J's not feeling it, we have someone who can do it for you.
Let me hop right up there. I'm totally ready to go, guys. I am ready to go. I'm actually not ready at all. It would take me forever to review that. But I'll start.
You got time.
I'll start now.
Yeah, so I mean, interesting that you said you thought this was a reference to Frank Zappa. I always thought, about the celebrity who he never mentions in the song who it is, that's more or less ignored everywhere except for somehow like this superstar loved and worshipped in France was a reference to Jerry Lewis.
Yeah. In our episode, which again has not come out yet, but we did talk about how I think there's a few different angles he took on this song. Because I think it's definitely Jerry Lewis is in there for sure in terms of the not super respected in America, but considered a genius in France.
Yes.
But Zappa had enough bad things to say. Zappa had a song specifically slamming the French as well.
Okay.
So it wasn't completely out of character for Frank. Lyrically, it still works in Frank's mind as a style parody thing. So yeah, I think it's probably maybe a little bit of both. Maybe I'm reaching a little bit more there for the continued Zappa stuff, but I think it's probably a little bit of both.
With Al doing this stuff, he always thinks in 4 or 5 different dimensions.
Yeah, absolutely.
So I wouldn't be surprised if it was a reference to Zappa.
There's always so many layers. Yeah, and we said it can't be a
exactly.
coincidence. I think he thinks about this stuff too much for it to be a coincidence,
Yeah, that's where I was going with. Yep.
Yeah.
We even discussed that this song is coming out at the peak of freedom fries in America. So there's there's also this element that you can look at as this being a little bit more of the political satire of Al kind of making fun of Americans' low opinion of France, at the dumb American low opinion of France thing that was happening at that time as well. So, I mean, anything with Al, especially, I feel like in the later years, the F's he was giving even less a little bit, and there is a lot of there's 10 different layers that you could look at to really get through the whole concept of what he was doing there.
Yeah, I mean, Al talks about it. He writes these songs in his notebook and he tweaks them constantly. I would just love to take a peek into Weird Al's notebook. About
right? Can you imagine?
That's got to be like a book full of notes just on that one song.
Absolutely.
And Ethan, I think I'm glad it's on your list somewhere, but I think we're gonna have to have a little talk later because it also made my list, but higher as well.
Okay. All right.
Dave, I think you're next. Yeah.
Okay. I'm very famous for taking lots of notes on these songs. So I literally have in front of me 7 pieces of paper, double-sided, totally filled out with notes. So if you'll bear with me for a moment.
Take your time.
As I talk about my number 4 song, this one is a style parody of The Doors about posting on the internet's version of the classified section. Of course, we all know we're talking about Craigslist here.
Yes.
That has Ray Manzarek of The Doors performing on keyboards, a founding member of The Doors. And this was the first single off the Internet Leaks EP. And Craigslist founder Craig Newmark said that, quote, "This thing's pretty funny" when he heard the song. So even Craig of Craigslist has given it a thumbs up. This is, in my opinion, a dead-on pastiche of The Doors.
Oh, yeah.
I'm not terribly familiar with The Doors catalog. My wife, Jackie, is. And when she heard this song, she just said that this is a dead-on pastiche. It takes from so many songs and has so many references to many, many Doors songs that Al really did this one justice. And for me, concert-wise, when Weird Al does this song, it is probably the most amazing song that he does up on stage with the psychedelic lights and everything going on. And then when he gets to the part in the song where he talks about being on the cell phone call with his mother and he starts improvising and just going into these spaces that you did not even know existed in Al's brain and talks about things that are happening. That is one of the most amazing things to see live. The music video, directed by Liam Lynch.
Yes.
And was shot in Liam's garage and uses a lot of stock footage, reminiscent of a lot of the Doors music videos. Weird Al does this incredible impression of Jim Morrison.
Yeah.
And I understand that Al had to lose some weight for that.
Oh, really? I always think of Al as being very svelte.
Trim, yeah.
Yeah.
This is an honorable mention for me. And I think part of it is not being the world's biggest Doors fan. But you are correct. If I'm going by my criteria of the addition of that guest enhancing the song, this is a This is a pretty big one. And again, similar to Ben Folds, there is a very definitive sound of the Doors, like piano and organ sound that is being represented by having Ray there.
Yeah. We also, funny, we didn't mention it earlier, another song that does not officially have bass on it because the Doors did not have a bass player. The organ player, Ray, is playing the bass parts on the organ. So they don't actually have bass guitar. But I still played it anyway.
Which, of course, when you see Al perform it live, as he did in the last tour, Steve puts down the bass and he goes and plays some kind of synth stuff.
Steve goes and plays the bass on the organ, which is a very authentic Doors experience he's doing there. Exactly right. Yeah, it's great. Like Matt Kelly, I had this down as an honorable mention. I do agree. This is a great, great feature. And I'm probably the same. Like, the Doors are not my favorite thing. So this has a little bit of a ceiling for how much I can absolutely love it. I will say I was lukewarm about it when I first heard it on the record, and then when I saw it live, I completely changed my mind because the live performance of this is solid gold. Like, it is so good. I would never get tired of the live performance. Yeah, the whole the rant in the middle that he just extends, like you said, improvs through it. It is just absolutely spectacular.
Yeah, this also made my list as an honorable mention. I didn't rank it as high because I don't know. In speaking, I guess, about some of the songs that we've already talked about, where an original member is on the pastiche of it. I don't know that Ray has the same name recognition as like a Zappa or a Hanson. So I think it belongs in the conversation, but to me, it wasn't top 5 material.
I do appreciate that only on the Dave and Ethan podcast is a Hanson ranked more important than a Door.
Yeah.
That's because Ethan's like 12 years old,
That's great. I like that. I agree, which is crazy.
He's got one of the Doors. That's not as much of a get as one of the Hanson brothers.
Yeah.
Well, it's the lead Hanson brother. It's not just the keyboard player.
No, it's the Hanson brother. I'm with you. I'm with you, Ethan.
Because no one's looking to meet Zach or Isaac right now. It's all about the Taylor. He got the best one. He got the best Hanson.
If Jim Morrison was on Craigslist, then maybe it would be a little higher.
Well, I could say the same thing if Frank Zappa was on Jesus.
All right, Matthew Milligan, do you want to give us your number 4?
I will give you my number 4, which we have, which has come up. Which my number 4 was "I Lost on Jeopardy," or is "I Lost on Jeopardy." It remains "I Lost on Jeopardy." That's what I have at number 4. Yep.
All right, so we're up to Matt Kelly.
My number 4, we already talked about. It was Ben Folds' "Why Does This Always Happen to Me?"
There you go.
It sounds like to me, guys, that we've got at least 2 songs that feel like they're on the definitive list. They seem to have been well represented.
I don't know. I don't know.
Yeah, that's interesting.
There's a long way to go, Matt. There's a long way to go.
These are 4 and 5. Those are the easy ones to get off.
Yeah, come on. This has been the express round so far.
I'm looking at my 3, 2, and 1, and I'm like, there's a good chance I'm the only person who put these 3 up here. And I guess we're going round robin. So do I do my 3 here?
Sure. Go for number 3.
Number 3.
All right, we need to stop the definitive top 5 right there, but do not fret. There will be more with Matt Kelly and Matthew Milligan of the Weird Al-Gorithm podcast on episode 259-inch.
This episode is brought to you in part by Discover Darwin, promoting tourism in Darwin, Minnesota. Not only is historic Darwin, Minnesota beautiful, it's also full of unexpected treasure.
Attention residents and visitors of Darwin, Minnesota.
On Sunday, June 1st, 2025, local resident Mel made a disturbing discovery just half a mile south of Lake Washington/Stella off County Road 14.
That's right. Mel found a purple, small/medium life jacket, a hoe.
A hoe? That's no way to speak about Mel, Dave.
No. I would never. That was the brand of the life jacket, Hoe Sports.
But it's purple? wouldn't you think Ho would be more associated with red and green and white? You know, like Santa colors?
Ethan, I think you're missing the big picture here. There was a small/medium person running around the greater Darwin, Minnesota area without a life jacket on.
Whoa. But what if that person was from Dassel?
Well, then that's not our issue, is it?
Well, let's just assume they are from Dassel then, because, I mean, that's really close to the border.
Yeah, I mean, sounds okay to me. So, I guess we're done here?
So visit Darwin, Minnesota on your next extremely dangerous expedition. Discover Darwin, more than just the twine ball. And after you visit Darwin, Minnesota, be sure to attempt to visit www.discoverdarwin.biz.
Dave and Ethan's 2008 Weird Al podcast is brought to you absolutely free thanks to our incredible sponsors Burrito, Wizard Burger, Stony Burns, Discover Darwin, and our very own Kenneth Crazy Ken Gwinnett. Our podcast is also supported by everyone else in our Patreon family, with special thanks to our very own close personal friend level Patreon supporters: Scotto Brothers, Adriana Banana Yugovich, Kev Messick, Ron, U.H. Jeff, Dana B. and Beaker, Blair, Matt T, Zach Casper, Ajax, Javier, Allison, Casey Killingsworth, Zeb, and our newest close personal friend level Patreon supporter, Scrappy767. Also thank you to Matt's Wood Turning, Richard Green, Dustin Jablonski, Casey Fritsch, Wendy Lippert, and our newest supporters, Isaiah Ferguson, Ricky Vigil, Stuart Z, Yanko Chick 38, Robert Sagers, and everyone else in our pretty stinking majestic Patreon family.
If you enjoy our Weird Al podcast, as heard in the Weird Al Yankovic story commentary track, please consider supporting us at patreon.com/2000inch. There are awesome benefits like getting your name read on the podcast, your own private RSS feed, which gives you early access to each and every bonus episode, and the self-satisfaction of doing something important with your otherwise pitiful, meaningless existence. And right now is the best time ever to join our Patreon family, as we are adding new concert review bonus episodes to our Patreon feed almost as fast as we can record them. We will post a brand new bonus episode for each and every concert that either Dave or I attend on Weird Al's tour this summer, and there will be a lot of them. As always, we post our concert review bonus episodes to patreon.com/2000inch first. Join now so you can hear the episodes before anyone else. And don't forget to check out our official merchandise over at shop.2000inch.com. All proceeds from purchases go directly towards supporting our fine podcast. If you wear your official Dave and Ethan's 2000-inch Weird Al podcast merchandise to a concert this year, be sure to take a picture and tag us on social media, or let us know, and we're going to give you a special shout out on a future episode.
We love hearing from our listeners and other Weird Al fans, so be sure to join our Facebook community at group.2000inch.com, and make sure you visit our Discord server for even more riveting Weird Al and Red Rump the Goody related conversations. You can find both of them linked on our website, as well as information about past episodes and past guests over at 2000inch.com or WeirdAlPodcast.com.
Keep up on new episodes, podcast news, and events by following at 2000inch on Facebook, Threads, and Instagram. And be sure to subscribe everywhere you listen to podcasts so you don't miss a single episode. Not only does subscribing help the podcast, it will make our bigger and weirder and longer bonus concert review episodes slightly longer or slightly shorter, whichever you prefer.
Plus, we also love it when we receive voicemail via our official patent-pending 27-hour-a-day podcast hotline, 347-SPATULA. That number is 347-772-8852. Give it a call or a text, and you might even hear your message in a future episode.
Thanks again to Matt Kelly and Matthew Milligan from the Weird Al-Gorithm podcast for joining us this episode. We'd also like to thank everyone we've seen out on the road at Weird Al's Bigger and Weirder tour so far, and everyone who's been enjoying our Bigger and Weirder and Longer bonus concert review episodes, as well as Christopher Bay, special guest Jackie Rossi, Johnny O'Hearn, Jeff Morris at the Demented Music Database over at dmdb.org, Angel Coleman, Josh Pilch, our very own UHF New Sarah, our very own Kenneth Gwinnett, our very own Claire Walsh, and our very own Mike Minnick.
Thank you to the Grammy Award-winning Jim Kimo West for our incredible podcast theme song, and thank you to Weird Al Yankovic, as this podcast probably would not exist without him. And thank you to John Bermuda Schwartz, Steve J, Ruben Valtierra, Jay Levy, and the irreplaceable Joe Jaffa. And a big thank you to all of you, our loyal listeners, subscribers, Patreon supporters, and sponsors, and everyone else who makes our podcast possible.
Thank you for choosing Dave and Ethan's 2000-inch Weird Al podcast. And until next time, remember to gill and chill, keep listening to Weird Al, and stay cheesy.
Be sure to tune in next inch episode for more with Matt Kelly and Matthew Milligan from the Weird Al-Gorithm podcast. They join us to help determine the definitive top 5 notable Weird Al song cameos.
That was Dave and Ethan's 2000-inch Weird Al podcast, episode 258-inch.
We're not the Weird Al-Gorithm.
Not that there's anything wrong with that.
I do appreciate that only on the Dave and Ethan podcast is a Hanson ranked more important than a door.